You mentioned Biden there, this big book coming out about Biden's cognitive decline. A lot of criticism of the mainstream media for not reporting the story properly. I certainly did. It was pretty obvious to me, even sitting here in London half the time, that he was clearly not up to running the country. This story about his cancer, on a human level, obviously your heart goes out to the guy. If he's in his 80s, he's got aggressive prostate cancer, it's gone to his bones. This is a serious health crisis. But I've noticed that everyone immediately, because of the lack of trust, has turned to a narrative of he couldn't have just found this out. This doesn't stretch credulity. Do you think the American people have been lied to about this health matter for years, as some believe?
Oh, absolutely. And I think that there's no credibility from Biden's doctor, particularly the doctor who oversees him is Dr. Kevin O'Connor. So this was the same doctor who, by the way, was in business with one of Biden's brothers, who for years was telling us that Biden was fine. Cognitively, there were no issues. He is as fit as a fiddle. And then he, after all these exams and checkups, just never happened to notice that this cancer had been there. And we saw Ezekiel Emanuel, Rahm's brother,
yeah, I saw that
who came out with some very pointed words saying that any doctor worth their weight in salt
would have known for 4 or 5 years.
Would have known for quite some time. And the sad thing here is when you kind of take a step back and you see the way that people around Joe Biden used him for decades. Biden Inc. was literally, it was a family business. It was a whole infrastructure of people around. They fed this. They allowed this to happen. And look, we might talk about politics and the media covers things, but you think of the Laken Rileys, you think of the Jocelyn Nungries, you think of the Rachel Morans, the young women who were killed by these illegals that came across the border. Was that even something that Joe Biden did or something that someone signed for him with an auto pen? You think about the various the failures of, say, the withdrawal from Afghanistan. You think about the record-setting inflation. All of these terrible things that happened, there was nobody home for President Biden. And I think that was a damn shame because there are real consequences. If you have the wrong person in the White House, we saw that with the 4 years of Joe Biden, that could have been stopped if these people had said something. But here's the thing, Piers. They were all making money off it. They're either making money off it or they're getting a great position in government. That's a damn shame. The other thing that I'm upset about is a lot of folks in the media now making money off of this, or, well, we saw this all along. No, you didn't. Stop the nonsense. You would come after folks like myself and the president and other people in his orbit for pointing out the obvious. He cannot walk up a flight of stairs. It was worse than Chevy Chase back on Saturday
It was
Night Live.
obvious.
It was terrible.
I wrote column after column in the New York Post saying, sorry, this guy's not fit to hold this office, physically, cognitively, anyway. It was obvious to everybody. The Trump DOJ lawyer, Leo Terrell, has actually floated the idea of criminal charges against Dr. Jill Biden over elder abuse in relation to Biden's treatment of cancer diagnosis. Your thoughts about that?
Well, I'm not a lawyer, so I wouldn't want to get into the DOJ lane. But I know that since Dr. Jill Biden was too busy running all the cabinet meetings, then, you know, she probably didn't have time to oversee all of the medical dynamics as well. But I'll leave that to the lawyers on that one.